everyone, welcome back to Flames War Battle Report using one of the new mid-war starter sets for the Eastern Front, the Stalingrad set, which I think is great because it's all infantry. There may be a few anti-tank guns and some T-70s, but it's infantry, which the desert ones were lacking somewhat. So it's good. It's a good way to start off your hobby, and of course it's got two of the armies on the Eastern Front, so you and a friend can play on either side. So what I'll be doing is showing you what's in the box, but with a battle report and kind of how to play as well. I did do this over a few days, so I might have lost track of some things. There might be some random tokens lying around the table I forgot to take away, but overall you get a good gist for the rules. And of course didn't really see infantry rules or artillery too much in the other mid-war reports I did, but I checked them out too as well because they're not too bad either. So we'll have a look at the lists and then we'll go over the stats for the unit as well.
And here we have the Soviet section of the Stalingrad box. So enjoy painting this lot because it might take a while. And there is a painting tutorial for Soviet infantry on the channel already, so feel free to look at that. I do try to do as few steps as possible just so you can maybe get this done in a few weeks hopefully. So what do we have? We have a hero rifle battalion. So Soviets, everything's like one up. So your platoon is a company, your company is a battalion. So we'll have a look now. So we have a hero HQ. So that is 2 rifle teams. Just 1 point that costs. We then have a hero rifle company. So this contains 10 rifle MG teams, a commissar that will give you a little bit of motivation as we'll see in the cards, and we have 2 heavy machine guns. And then we have a second company which is the exact same loadout, and then we have some 4 76mm guns which may or may not be proxied this game. And in support we have some T60s representing the 3 hero T70s that we have. So there we go there. So a nice little force here, not sure what kind of battle plan will go with them, maybe attack, but we'll see the battle plans before the mission starts. So there we go, let's now have a look at the German contingent.
Okay, so this is the HQ for the hero rifle battalion. It's your normal stats. You will see confident 4+, green, so their skills, so not really going to get them to do much, but their assaults are 4+, so a bit better. They are aggressive, so it'll be easier to hit, and then your movement is basically your standard infantry movement, but they only have rifles, and if you move or pin, you're slow firing, so that means they'll be +1 harder to hit. And this is the hero rifle company. As you can see, the motivation is 2 parts. So you have reluctant 5+, but the blue bit is if the commissar is still alive, their motivation is a 4+, so it's a bit better. And you can see all the weapons they are equipped with and can be equipped with. So it's only the rifle team and the HMG team we'll be looking at and using today. So we have some 76mm anti-tank guns. Not really going to be doing a whole lot today since it's pretty much just infantry on their German side, but expanding on from this set you will be coming against a bit more armour, and for a mid-war gun it ain't too bad. 89, 3+ firepower, range less it down a little bit, it's a little bit shorter than your British 6-pounders, but overall a decent gun. But again, it's aggressive, but it does have a 3+ gun save, so if it is hit, that's what you'll need to save it. And then we have a few T70s. These little tanks are going to be pretty decent. They're going to be basically mobile HMG nests, and with a front armour of 4 and a side armour of 2, they're going to be impervious to the small arms that the rifle platoons the Germans have. They do have their own anti-tank guns though, but it's 89, so you will actually have a chance to bounce it as well. And they're confident, trained, still aggressive, but they have a decent last stand on a 3+, so overall not too bad.
So here we have the German contingent from the Stalingrad box. As you can see, there's a lot less bases, but we'll see why. So this is a panzergrenadier company. We have a HQ of 2 SMG teams, and then we have 2 full platoons of 7 panzergrenadiers. So those are rifle MG teams, and there's 7 in each platoon. And then also we have 2 5cm guns, which will be more than enough to deal with the T-70s. And then we have 3 Nebelwerfers, which I'm quite excited to show what they can do. Hopefully we'll have a chance to in this game.
So this is the HQ for the Panzergrenadier Company. It's the same stats as the rest of the unit, so confident 4+ last stand 3, veteran 3, which is pretty decent, and careful 4+ with a 3+ save. Now the difference with this and the platoon is they have SMGs, so only a 4-inch range, but they have 3 shots halted and moving, but if they're pinned it does go down to 1. And then here we have our Panzergrenadier platoon, a good loadout, so they have a halted rate of fire of 3 and a moving of 2, so with these 7 teams you can put a serious amount of firepower down, and there's obviously an optional 2.8 centimeter anti-tank rifle, which we don't have today. So again, like the Soviets, some anti-tank guns, again might not do much today. Their firepower is a little bit worse than the Soviet ones, but if those T-70s come anywhere near them, they're going to have a bit of a hiding. And the last unit card we'll look at is the 15cm Nebelwerfer, or the Nebs as we like to call them, and this is your only artillery unit in the game, and it will be firing a salvo template, which we will see, and it is massive, but this could be the key unit for the Germans to crack the Soviet infantry horde that they have. So it kind of a lot relies on this today, I think, because numbers wise the Soviets are winning that battle already. Okay, so a way to pick your missions in this game is with a battle plan. So this is your basic battle plan matrix. So whoever's playing, they pick what battle plan they want to do: attack, maneuver, defend. So you can tailor your list building to how you want to play the game, and then basically you go over to what everyone's picked, and then you roll then to see what the mission is. So in this case, the Germans picked attack, and the Soviet player picked defend, and we ended up getting fighting withdrawal. Speaking of, this is the mission. I quite like it as the defender because you start with your whole force, which is not often happens when you're the defender. You get minefields, so you get to restrict avenues of attack. The only other downside you have is strategic withdrawal. So basically, the start of turn 2, you count up all your units, excluding transport and independent units, and basically if you have 6 or more, you withdraw a unit. If you have less than that, you gain the delay counter. So when you count up a next turn, you add the delay counter as well, and if that, including your unit, equals 6, you withdraw a unit and your delay counters. So slowly your guys disappear off the table, so you have to be very careful because you don't want to break your formation as well at the same time, and also you don't want to leave an open road to the objective as well. But the game will end on turn 8 if you're still in the game, so quite a fun mission.
So the mission is fighting withdrawal. I was thinking of using a 4x4 table, but I thought this mission would be better to still go with 6x4. So the Soviets defenders picked this side of the table. This is going to be the second and then a third game where they go this side. So behind the dice is their deployment zone. They go all the way up to the halfway line. Germans only get an 8-inch deployment zone. Should be fine for them. They haven't got that many units to put down that'll occupy that space. German player got to place both objectives. So we got one here and one here, conveniently avoiding the town because Stalingrad is the name of the box, and we don't really want a mini Stalingrad over there. The Soviet player was able to put down 4 minefield tokens. So within 2 inches of these minefields, if you go through it, you need to do a skill check. If you fail, it goes off and you could lose some teams. So 2 here blocking the access between this rock and the pond. 1 here, so can't go through this way, and then 1 blocking this way. So this way is a bit closed for now, but there's plenty of other options. And then lastly, before we deploy the Soviets, this is the ranged in marker for the Nebs. And the Soviet player will be able to put one unit in ambush, which will be the T-70s, since the infantry might be tricky to be deployed legally, because you have to be within no more than 4 inches away if there's concealment, and if there is no concealment they have to be 16 inches away. So to plonk those guys in somewhere with that much concealment might be a bit tricky, so they're going to be in ambush. And then starting turn 2, the Soviet player will have to start withdrawing units if they meet the requirements. So let's see how the Soviets and Germans deploy. Okay, so that is everything deployed. So we have the HQ team by here with 1st Company right in front. So the HQ is within 6 inches of the unit leader, so he will have rerolls to his motivations. These guys probably won't do much this game, so they're just by here on the hill so they can see some stuff. And 2nd Company are basically the unit leader and commissar are back here, leading from the back. And then basically the 1st and 2nd floors of all these buildings have stuff in them, with a HMG on the end here and a HMG on the end. And of course the T-70s are in ambush. The German players deployed like so. So we have 2nd Platoon here with the HQ in the middle, again doing our thing so we can have rerolls. The Nebs are in the woods, so unit leaders in the middle, so one can see out this way, one can see out this way. And then we have the unit leader from 1st Platoon here with one guy, and then the rest are in this farmhouse. And then we have the 2 5cm guns over here. Not really thinking much to do with them, so they might just pepper this teams on the hill here. So Germans will have first turn because they're the attacker, and they might have to just play a waiting game and try to whittle down the Soviets with some artillery and wait for some units to start withdrawing. So we'll go into German movement because there'll be no motivations. Okay, so German movement. This platoon did a terrain dash up to the church, and then the unit leader did a follow me, so he moved 4 inches forward, rolled a dice and compared it to the motivation. This time it was greater, so the other teams got the 4 inches. So basically 4 teams are in the church and the unit leader and 2 are outside. The HQ is moved up, staying 2 inches away from the edge of the woods so he cannot be seen. 1st Platoon has stayed put, and that is it. So we'll be going into firing and we'll be able to see the Nebs. Excitingly, if you've seen an artillery template for the mid-war games, it's decent size, but it's nothing on this. And basically with these Nebs, it can cover an entire Soviet company more or less. So we will try that, see if they can range in and see if you can get any casualties. Okay, so they're going to range in by here, which they can see. So when you put your template down, you put it down and then you angle it from where the firing team is from, which is over there. So basically, if this was to range in, it will cover that entire company apart from that team by there. So they need to range in first. So the skill, it's a skill test. You have 3 attempts of this as well. So the German Nebs have a skill of 3, but it's going to be +1 because there's short terrain and there's also tall terrain under it. So it's just +1, so it's going to be a 4+ to range in for them. And they get a first attempt, which is great. Now if they got it on the 2nd attempt, all these teams are going to be hit on +1. If it's the 3rd attempt, +2. And then if you fail on the 3rd attempt, that's it, you don't get the range in. So let's roll a bunch of dice. So under here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rifle MG teams. So we'll grab 8 dice. We're just going to roll them all together because it shouldn't matter too much who is under the template. Now as we've seen earlier, the Soviet stuff is aggressive. Now luckily these are the hero guys because the other guys I think are reckless and hit on 2s. So we need 3s to hit here. Now we have a couple of misses, but that's not too bad, and we've got a few 6s as well, but that doesn't make any difference. Now the main thing as well, because these guys have taken a hit from a artillery template, they are pinned already. So we'll put a pin marker next to their unit leader to remind us that has happened. So far we've got 6 hits on the rifle teams. We'll roll for the unit leader, who is hit, and there's 2 heavy machine guns as well, and one of them is hit. So So the Soviet player has a bunch of saves to make. So Soviet player will grab 6 dice for their rifle teams that have been hit, and they need to pass their infantry save, which is a 3+ in this case. So here come the first bunch. Ooh, that's not looking great. So 4 failed saves yet, but they're not dead yet because they're in bulletproof cover. And then we have the unit leader needs to do a save. That's failed. And then we have the heavy machine gun. That's passed. So we have 4 failed saves. So the German player needs to pass firepower test as if it was in going against a tank. But it's 4+ for the Nebs. And they get 3. And then the unit leader, no. So 3 dead infantry teams. We're going to pluck a few of them, and then we'll see what else is in range to fire. Next up, we're going to be firing the 5cm guns at this infantry company. So primary target is the heavy machine guns. This is long range, but within the 28-inch range of the gun. So normally these guys are hit on 3s, but it's going to be +1 for the range, +1 for concealment because they're in foxholes, and +1 because they're gone to ground. So 3, 4, 5, 6s. So I need 6s to hit, and I don't get any, but it's a bit trickier when they're concealed and gone to ground. And these guys did a follow me so can't fire, and these guys are out of range. So that will be it for German turn 1. Soviet turn 1, these guys find themselves under an artillery template, so they're going to try and unpin. So these guys have a decent motivation when their commissar is alive on a 4+. Now if the commissar is to die, it goes to a 5, so it's a 50-50 chance, and they rally. So it means they can do whatever they want. Their rate of fire will be the same anyway, but if they want to move towards the Germans, they can now. So what are the Soviets going to do? Most likely they're going to sit still, potentially, or are they going to come out and try and engage these guys over here, which they could. Be much more interesting for the battle if they do, so let's see if they do. So the cry has gone up for the motherland. They're coming out. The 2 heavy machine guns have stayed back, so they can fire their full rate of fire into the church to hopefully pin these panzergrenadiers to, well, we will see that what happens when people charge into assaults might not always be that easy. So we have some shooting to do for the Soviets. I'd like to point out as well that during the motivation step was our chance to bring in the ambush unit, of which we are keeping behind for now. Okay, so we're going to open fire with first company. So we have a HMG and a rifle team who are in range on the church there. Now the rifle team will only need a 5 to hit because he's within short range. Of course, the range is only 16 inches, but the heavy machine gun will be able to fire the full rate of fire of 6 shots, but it's going to be hitting on 6s because the gun is more than 16 inches away. So first of all, the rifle team, will it hit? It does hit on a 5. Now I can only hit the unit leader here because that's the only one within range of this gun as well. And the other HMG is going to be firing at the 5cm guns. So I got 3 more hits. So 1 more hit will pin the Germans in the church. So I'm liking my odds so far. So we have 4 saves for the German unit leader there, and we failed 2, but he is in bulletproof cover from the church, so I need a 6 because the firepower from small arms is 6s generally, and we do get that unit leader, so that's not looking too bad at all so far. So we'll remove him in a minute, and now we will fire at the 5cm guns that are in range. So 4s normally, 5s for concealment, 6s for range. Ooh, and we have a very nice conversion of 3 hits there. And luckily these are small guns, so they have a 3+ save. And fail 1, and again we need to convert on a 6, which we do not. And there's only 3 hits, so they're not pinned. So that unit leader here is dead in the tower, so he'll get swapped with another team. And then we have second company to open fire next. Okay, so second company's heavy machine guns are going to open up, and they're actually within short range on the church. These guys at the back cannot be seen because the church is tall terrain, but this is 12 dice, and this isn't the rifle team's firing yet, so they're going to be needing 5s. Not as good as the other heavy machine guns, but 3 hits takes us above 5, so that unit is now pinned, so they will be firing at their moving rate of fire when it comes to potential defensive fire. That's if they don't lose any more men. So we have 3 saves to make so far, and they all pass. So now the rifle team, some of them might be blocking each other, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots that can fire, because you basically want a width the same size of this tape measure to go through, and this guy is just going to be angling off in the wrong direction. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots. Most likely we might not kill anyone, but there's no harm in trying. So these guys need in 5s. We have a cocked dice. We have 3 more hits. So the German player has 3 more saves to make and fails 1, so a miracle 6 come in, complete opposite. So we'll see if anything else is in range. Important note to make, infantry teams cannot fire through other infantry teams, or any other team can fire through moving infantry teams, but if they had not moved, pretty much everything can fire through them because they'll be basically low to the ground, just so you know. And I will check to see if the guns on the hill can see anything. Fortunately, the guns are just out. This guy is in, but he is getting blocked by that house. So we are going to be going into the assault phase. So here we go. Having measuring some stuff out, it might not be that much of a successful assault. So basically, everyone who's within 4 inches can go into contact. So we have this team here, which is more than enough room to go in here. And this guy, more or less, he's going to be in here in this building. And this guy is going to be out. Now, although these guys can get onto the back of these, because they're not within 4 inches to contact from now, they're not able to join in. So unfortunately, these guys have 2 shots each, so there's 8 guys in that church, and we do have some guys at the back here because these guys haven't moved. They'll be able to fire through, so they might not be able to stop the assault because there's more teams and they need a lot more hits. But all they need to do is kill those 3 teams and the assault will not be happening. So there are 6 German teams and they only need 3s to hit. So let's see what happens. There's a lot of misses here. But we have 6, 7 hits here, and how many do we need to stop the assault? So we actually needed 8, because there's 12, if there's at least 12 assaulting teams, but there's only 3 assaulting teams, so that will stop them. And now they need to make some saves. So one of them has 3, and he dies because he's not in bulletproof cover. And then we have another one, he dies, and then we have another one who survives, so he will go back to where he started, and that unit, because they fell back, is now pinned. Okay, so German turn 2. Starting off, we need to rally our pinned down infantry. So they rally on a 4+, okay, which is great for them. So they've just about weathered the storm of this rifle company coming towards them. It'll be a bit foolhardy to go out and assault them. So considering that there's 2 heavy machine guns in these buildings, that will be able to help them if they were to jump in. And there's 2 guys outside the church. One of them can fit in, so what they're going to do is they're going to try and dig foxholes, which is a skill check, and they pass another 6. So they've dug the foxholes, and what they're going to be doing is in the shooting phase, they're not going to shoot, so they can go to ground. So now it's going to be +1 harder for these Soviets to hit them, so maybe this time they might not get pinned, but we will see. And that's going to be it for the shooting phase, or what we'll for the movement. But we'll try and dig in the HQ as well, which we do not. But he will get to go to ground, and these guys are going to stay and wait, and hopefully these nebs can have a decent turn of shooting and see if they can whittle them down and then maybe come out to play. So we'll go into the shooting phase. So the nebs are going to re-range in on this point here, so that means they don't need to do the skill check to range in on this point because this is a repeat bombardment. Because it's pretty decent because it's only this guy and the commissar who are not under the template. And a repeat bombardment is a little bit more devastating, as we will see when the Soviets do saves. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rifle teams if you include the unit leader, and this time we will since it shouldn't matter too much. So, actually we will. So we'll have 6 dice and they're being hit on 3s. Not so good, we got 3 misses there, so we got 3 hits. The unit leader is hit, and then we also have 2 heavy machine guns. Kind of needed those ones to be hit more than anything. So that means we have 3 rifle teams that are hit and the unit leader. So now the Soviet player has 3 saves on rifle teams on the 3+, passes 2, fails 1, and then we have 1 on the unit leader, which fails. But this is a repeat bombardment now, so these 2 successful saves need to be re-rolled. So now we have 2 fails on rifle teams and the unit leader has failed. So firepower time again. So the 2 rifle teams, 1 dies, 1 survives, and the unit leader dies. So it's a bit significant because he dies now, so we'll have to replace him with someone, and he'll be out of range for their all-important reroll from the HQ. So that is 1 rifle team we'll take away, and the unit leader, but someone gets promoted. And that's 2 more teams down, but still quite a lot, especially with the heavy machine guns still there. So again, the 5cm guns are going to open up on the heavy machine guns. So we have 4 shots because they haven't moved and they're not pinned. So 3s normally, 4's concealment, 5's for range because they're not gone to ground because they fired last turn. And we have 1 hit. So the Soviet player is going to swap it to a rifle team, which they do. So they needed a 3 to swap. Now that rifle team now has a save to make, which is promptly failed. So then a firepower, and then it's another dead rifle team. So slowly, ever so slowly being whittled down, and that will be it for the German shooting for turn 2, because we want the guys in the church to remain gone to ground. Okay, so the Soviets are just about holding out on this hill. It's turn 2, so first of all we do the motivation checks first. So we need to rally a team there. Now the commissar is still in command, but they do not rally, and then we have the unit going across the street there, and they do not rally either, so getting a bit ropey over there then, so they may have to move back because that's the only place they can go. And now we need to see if we need to withdraw a unit. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5th unit in ambush. So if we had 6 or more, we'd have to withdraw a unit, but because we don't, we gain a token. So I'll just put a ranging marker since we don't have any, and we'll put it there. So next turn, if nothing dies, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including the token, so we will have to withdraw something next turn if we don't lose any units. So we'll get into Soviet movement, and we'll see how it ends up. Okay, so the Russian units have pulled back into this building here, and we're going to do some shooting with them as well. So they're all within small arms range, so there's going to be a lot less shots because the MGs are pinned, because they'll only get 2 shots each being pinned, but we might as well try and see, but we'll be hitting them on 6s. Okay, so we have 9 shots in total, and we're going to be hitting on 6s. None this time. And what we're going to do as well, the guys on the hill are going to go to ground just to make it a little bit harder for the 5cm guns to pick off the heavy machine guns, because we need to kind of stay in the game with this company anchoring these objectives over here. And again, as you notice in the motivation step, I'm not bringing the reserves on just yet. So we're going into German turn 3. Okay, so German turn 3. We have no motivations to do, but we're still stuck with a wall of Soviet infantry in front of us. We've got 8 turns to take an objective, so we might be sitting and waiting for another turn to see what the Nebs can do. It's those heavy machine guns and we need to get rid of the most, so we will wait, I guess. But what we'll do in the movement phase is try and dig in HQ, which we do not. He just cannot dig in. So we'll go straight into the shooting. So shooting phase, we have 3 rifle teams, including the unit leader, and we'll be rolling for them, needing 3s, 2 hits, 1 miss, and 2 heavy machine guns. I'll be getting both this time. So, save on the infantry teams, both passed, so they need a reroll, both fail. Heavy machine guns, so the one on the left will roll 2 dice for him, passes, the guy on the right, passes. So, 2 firepowers on rifle teams. They both survive. So the 5cm guns are going to open up. So it's going to be 6s this time because they go underground onto the heavy machine guns. We get nothing. So the Germans may have to start moving up at some point. But we will see. So we will go into Soviet turn 3. Soviet turn 3, first of all we have our motivations to do, so will these guys rally? They do. Will the guys in the houses rally? They do. So everyone has rallied, the ambush will not be coming in yet, but now if we count everything up, we have 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, 4, 5 with the guys in ambush, and 6 for a marker. So we remove the marker and we have to withdraw a unit, so it's going to be the anti-tank guns. Soviet movement summary, the infantry teams have moved back behind the hill, so all that's under the template now are the 2 heavy machine guns, but they're still in foxholes. Second company's moved forward, so what they've done is they're staying behind this stone wall, which will provide them with concealment and bulletproof cover. Now if there was a second story to this church, so there is the tower, which 1 team can fit in. They will lose concealment and bulletproof cover. And again, the 2 heavy machine guns have stayed put, so we will have some shooting from these guys. So we'll do that straight away. So we have 2 heavy machine guns, which will give us 12 shots. And because these guys have moved and can't shoot with each other, we have 5 more shots. So here's our dice pool by here. So we need 6s. Let's see if I can get all these in one hand. So 6 is required, 4s normally, 5s for concealment, 6 because they've gone to ground. And we have just 4 hits, 1 more and they'll be pinned. But there's nothing else to hit them. And there's only 4 teams in the church anyway, so we have 4 saves to make. And we have 2 fails, so let's see if we can get any sneaky 6s here. We do, we get 1, so there's a guy who is now dead in that church there, so we'll remove him. And the heavy machine gun here and here, 1 is gonna, well, we'll see if they've got range on the 5cm guns because they're not going to be gone to ground because the other guys have moved. So actually, these 2 heavy machine guns are going to go for the neb, so 24 inches is just about enough to get it with both of them. So it's going to be a long shot because it's going to be 4s normally, 5s for concealment and 6 for range, but if we can get 1 of them, it'll be well worth it. So we got 2 hits on it, and it's a large gun, so it's going to be a 4+ save for them. So that's 2 dice coming up, needing 4s, and it's failed 1, so we need a 6. Opposite. And that is going to be it for Soviet turn 3. Again, another turn of no motivations for the Germans in their turn 4, but we are going to start moving up a bit now because the clock is ticking and we're just not killing enough Soviets at the moment, so we will go to movement and see where we end up. German movement, the 2 teams outside are now inside, but the unit leader has gone up the tower, so he at least will be able to catch some of these guys without concealment and bulletproof cover, but with 2 shots. And then we need to remember that there's 4 guys in here, 3 haven't moved, so one of them will have reduced rate of fire. And now these guys have left the farmhouse, tried to do a follow me but failed, and then the HQ is moving along to help them, and that is it. So going into the shooting phase, we need to declare it the start of the shooting. We're going to be firing smoke with the Nebelwerfers to cover our advance going across the field here. Okay, so this is where we're going to start our smoke barrage. Now again, like with our other artillery, your teams need to be able to see it, so that guy can see it. And then when you've ranged in, you can draw a line 4 inches for every gun, in which case we have 3, so we'll have 12 inches. So if we go across this way, it'll go all the way to the hedge, and you can have it going in any direction you want. So you have 3 attempts like artillery, but it doesn't really matter. But it doesn't matter what attempt you get on, so I just like to roll all 3 at the same time, and again it's your skill rating, which is a 3+. And we got it 3 times, which doesn't matter, and luckily it did go off. So what we're going to do, we're going to start it by there, and I got some smoke markers, again cotton wool will do. We'll have it going across like that, in a straight line was enough as the terrain will allow you to do it. Now basically this line of smoke now will block line of sight. If the teams are within 6 inches of each other, they can shoot to them with a +1 penalty, but basically these people, unless they move through the smoke, cannot see those guys over there. So that is it, and we have to do that first because obviously it will affect what these guys can do, because these guys can now not shoot. So what now, we'll go back to the church. So we have a guy in the tower who has no concealment or bulletproof cover in his way, so he'll be hitting on 3s. And he gets 2 6s. Good man. And then we have 3 teams that have not moved, so we'll have 3 shots each. And then we have the other team that was outside that is now inside, and these guys will be hitting on 4s because there is a stone wall in the way. And we don't have many misses, so we have this much. 8 more hits, so they are pinned, and we'll assign the hits. Okay, so the hits have to be distributed evenly, so we have 1 on each of everyone here, and the 2 6s are the ones without bulletproof cover, and then there's another one on the heavy machine gun there. So what the Soviet player is going to do is try to fob these hits off. So this bulletproof cover, we're going to try and swap it onto the heavy machine gun, which we don't, so it's just going to stay there. And because we failed that first one, we can't do any more. So we now have a save on the Commissar on a 3+. That's cocked, and he survives. And then the other guy next to him dies because no bulletproof cover. And then we have the other saves. So we have 7 more saves, so we'll have 4 guys in the front on 3+, all pass. Then we have 3 guys at the back, 1 fails, so we'll do a firepower test straight up, which fails, and then the heavy machine gun fails, and also failed firepower. So just 1 rifle team, but this guy in the tower will have a full rate of fire next turn, so we'll see if that causes much damage. So now we're going into Soviet turn 4. Okay, we need to start with Soviet motivation, so we need to rally that unit if they will. They do not, because they needed a 4+ to rally, so we might have to dig them in and hope for the best, although they're in a decent position where they are. And this time we are going to be bringing in the ambush, and we're going to be bringing it here because they can't be seen, or right here because of the concealment, and then they're going to be driving forward, trying to deal with this infantry up here. So we'll do that, and basically then we count up our units. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for the T-70s, so we gain a delay counter. So we will get into movement. Okay, so the T-70s were behind the crest of the hill, so I had concealment, and have moved forward with their tactical speed. So 2 can see open onto the Germans there because he has a clear line of sight there, and this one will have a concealed shot. But first of all, let's try and dig in the hero rifles. So it's going to be a 5 up because they're green. Nope. So we'll put a gone to ground marker on them anyway, and we'll put a gone to ground marker. In fact, we will try and dig in this unit as well, since it might as well. but no, they don't either, so we'll have a gone to ground marker on them as well. Okay, so now onto the shooting. So the T-70, so we have 6 shots, they'll be hitting on 4s because no concealment onto the panzergrenadiers. And we have just 2, and then 3 shots hitting on 5s because there is concealment. Well, we got 2 with that one, so 4, but unfortunately not enough to pin. So we'll just put them on the closest ones. German players going to be happy with that. And then we have 4 3+ saves, and we have 2 dead panzergrenadiers. These guys here are going to open up into the church, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 shots from the MGs, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it'll be 12 shots total into the church, hitting on 5s. Just remove the gone to ground marker because they're not gone to ground anymore. So 5s now, might as well see if we can whittle down any of these panzergrenadiers. And we get 4 hits again, just not enough to pin these guys. So we have 4 saves from the German player. Again, just failed 1 and no kills. So may have been better to stay gone to ground that time, but we will find out later in German turn 5. Okay, German turn 5, there's no motivations to do, but the one problem we do have is there seems to be an endless amount of Soviets. We're killing quite a few, but more seem to be there, and there's a huge blob of them there blocking the way, and now there's little mini tanks blocking our way as well. So the unit here is going to attempt to dig in and buy another turn and then maybe move on. That's a cocked dice. They do on a 3+ because they are veterans. And the HQ is going to attempt to do the same thing. So let's see if he can do it this time. Ooh, he's definitely found his shovels this time. And these guys are already in bulletproof cover, so they're happy where they are. They're just going to try and keep on shooting out. And only one will ignore bulletproof cover, but we'll see if that can make any difference. So we'll go into German shooting. Okay, so we're going to start off with the anti-tank guns going into the T-70. So we have 4 shots. The T-70 is hit on a 3+, 4+ for concealment, and 5s for range. We missed all of them unfortunately, so that's not going to be good enough. So the German infantry are going to hold fire and go to ground, because otherwise they're going to get mowed down by these guys. So the Nebs are going to range in right on top of the hill. By here they can see that from the aiming point, and that should be able to clip most of the stuff. And bearing in mind now, they have not dug in yet, apart from the guys on top of the hill, however. Okay, so first attempt to range in, we need a 4+. So first attempt failed. Second attempt, we have it. So let's double check exactly what is underneath this template. And it is pretty much everyone, apart from the HQ, just about skips it. So we have 2 heavy machine guns which are going to be hit on 4s because it's the second attempt, and we get a hit on both of them. We then have 1, 2, 3, 4 rifle teams, and none of these are in bulletproof cover. And we get a hit on 3 of them, so of course better put a pin marker down. And then we have a hit on the commissar, and he hasn't moved, so he's still in his foxhole, and he is hit as well. Okay, so I've been rolling the Russian dice. So we have 2 saves on the heavy machine guns that both pass. And then we have 3 saves on the rifle teams, all pass, and then on the commissar, who fails. So there's a firepower coming up, and we have not got him, unfortunately. So we will go over to the church. So first up, we'll fire the guy in the tower. So you'll have 3 shots hitting on 3s because there's no concealment for the guys down below, and he has 2 hits. So we'll assign them now, but we will roll for the rest. So we'll put it there and there, and then we have 4 teams in the church, so that'll be 3 dice each because they have not moved. So I'll need 1 more German dice to bring it to 12, and these guys will be hitting on 4s. because of the concealment from the stone wall. Okay, so that is more than enough to pin them, so we'll assign these and we'll do some saves. Okay, that's a hit on everyone with a double up on the Commissar. So what the Soviet player is going to do is try and swap these ones without bulletproof cover into the guys in the buildings. So first attempt, yes. So one will get swapped. So there's still 2 hits on the Commissar, but they're not bulletproof. Well, they are bulletproof now. And then the other hit off the unit leader does as well. So everything now has bulletproof cover. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rifle teams that need saves on a 3+. And we have 2 fails. So the German player needs to convert to 6s. They have 1. And then the Commissar with his 2 saves passes both. And then heavy machine gun left, heavy machine gun right. So just 1 more rifle team and they're pinned, but they already were pinned. Okay, Soviet turn 5. We have a pinned down unit here to see if they can rally. They do not, but they get a reroll from the HQ. And they do rally. And then the ones in by the church, they do not rally. So what we're going to do in movement, try and dig the guys in by the church, which they do not. And then we're going to try and dig in these people here as well. And they don't either, so it could be a bit tricky for them. They're not gone to ground either because they did fire. Keep that on them from now. So we go into Soviet shooting. Okay, so these guys are going to go to ground this time. So I didn't fire the full rate of fire on them last time I did it. That'd be embarrassing for a how-to video. The guys on the hill have rallied. So what we're going to do is fire the guns from the T-70s first. So they have 3 shots each. And they're going to be going for the German grenadiers now. It's going to be 4s normally, 5s concealment, 6 because they're gone to ground. They only get 2 hits. So 2 saves coming up for the Germans, both pass. And now we're going to have the guns on the ridge firing as well. Might as well. So it's going to be 7s. So no, it's going to be 6s because it is short range. And we only get 1 more hit, so 1 more save for the Germans, and it's a pass, and so that's not enough to pin them. So that's it. So now we're going to German turn 6. Okay, German turn 6. Again, no motivations, not enough hits on us to get that. So we have until turn 8. Next turn the Soviets will be withdrawing another unit because last turn they didn't withdraw anything, so they got another delay counter. So at the moment they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They will remove something next turn. So should we wait for that or should we get moving now? So I think we'll start moving some stuff around, getting into better position, especially with this unit pinned here. Might be a good opportunity. Okay, in the movement, the grenadiers in the church have come out and hopefully they can get a few of these guys and maybe launch an assault. HQ's coming over. He did try to do a follow me, but it didn't work. And these guys are coming over, all doing tactical moves as well. So we'll go into shooting, and the Nebs are going to have another chomp at this infantry unit. So we have the 2 HMGs on the hill hitting on 3s. We get 2 hits on them. So again, they're pinned. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rifle teams. That is including the unit leader. And they hit on 3s as well. Oh, we have a bunch of misses. 1 hit. And then we have the Commissar, who's missed. So, the infantry unit's going to have to do a double save because it's a repeat bombardment. And he's doubly dead. And he's not in bulletproof cover, so he is gone. And then we have a double save for the HMG on the left. Pass. HMG on the right. More than happy with that. So now the platoon coming across, one of the teams can see the Commissar without bulletproof cover, so he'll fire. It is going to be 4s because there is concealment. Yes, 1 hit. And then the rest will be able to get into the building up there without people getting blocked. So we'll check, see who's in range and fire that as well. Okay, so far we have a hit on the commissar, and the unit can only see the guy in their building, so it's 2 shots needing 4s. We get 1 more hit. So this hasn't got bulletproof cover on it, but this guy can see this guy as well, so the Soviet player is going to try and swap it off onto him, try and save the commissar, but we don't. So let's roll for the HMG in the building first. Passes, and then the commissar passes as well. So far they're okay with 2 hits on them, but it doesn't matter because they're already pinned. Next up, this unit is going to fire. So basically, this guy here has clear line of sight with no bulletproof cover to basically most of these teams here, and this guy has it to this team here. The rest of them will have concealment from this. So what we'll do the guy with 2 shots who can see pretty much everyone, and he gets 2 hits, so we will assign it like this and this, and then we have another guy who will be hitting on 3s, and he gets 1 hit, so we'll put that there, and we'll change them to 6s just to show they're not in bulletproof cover. And then we have 6 more shots hitting on 4s because of the concealment, and we have 3 more, so we'll assign 1, 2, 3, and there we go. So this team is going to be too close to mistaken target, but then basically we'll try and swap these into the buildings again. So the first one, yes, and then off the unit leader, no. So we'll do a save on the heavy machine gun, which has failed. Let's do a firepower straight up. No, he's okay. And then we have a rifle team who's not in bulletproof cover, who's okay, and then the unit leader is okay. And then 3 more saves, and there's 1 cock dice, and we're using German dice again. So they managed to hold out with any casualties, so the Germans are gonna have to assault, otherwise they're gonna get gunned down next turn, so might as well give it a go. Okay, so here the German teams have moved their 4 inches into combat, and now we have the defensive dice for the Soviets. So we have 6 rifle teams, and then there'll be 4 more shots from the heavy machine guns because they are pinned, hitting on 4s. And we have 4 hits, so that's not enough to stop the assault, so the Germans are lucky there. And then the German player has 4 saves, so here we go. Oh, there's 1 cock dice there, and that doesn't look too good. There's 3 dead Germans, unfortunately. So we'll just take 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. But luckily the assault does go through, so this guy will take the place from that guy, and then we'll move in. So we have the hit up by here, who hits and kills, there's no saves in assaults, and then that unless you're an armoured team, and then just a miss by there. So now the Soviets get to counter-attack on a 4+, which they do, and they might as well try and wipe out. There's more than enough room, so we have 3 swings there. Now they get the hit on 4+s in assault, because it's for the motherland special rules, so 3 swings there, all miss. And we got 3 swings on the other team. Luckily just 1 hit there. So the German player now gets the counter-attack on a 4+, which they do not, so they have to break away outside 6 inches, and the Soviets get to consolidate. And also the German team is pinned because they took a hit in assault. So there we go, the Soviet player has consolidated his force, and this guy's moved back. So now we go into Soviet turn 6. Soviet turn 6, we got some motivations again, so we have the pin down unit by here. We'll roll 2 dice because the HQ's by here, and he rallies on a 6. And then again, see if these guys can rally. They do not. Again, if these guys could rally, it'd be very good news for the Soviets. So now it comes to withdrawing something. So we have 1 unit, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need to get rid of something here. So It's quite tricky really. I think we're going to be getting rid of the HQ now. That does leave us with 2 units, but there's still quite a lot of meat on the bones for the Soviet units here, so hopefully that won't be the incorrect decision. Okay, Soviet movement, we're going to start with trying to dig in the rest of this unit, which they do not on a 5+, and then we'll dig in the ones by the church, and they do not on a 5+. That green rating is hurting us a little bit, so we're going to try and move in the T-70s about, get them in a bit of a better position. Okay, so the T-70s are moved so they can see clearly this team by here, so they'll be able to shoot the entire unit without concealment. So we'll go into Soviet shooting. Now nothing else has moved, so hopefully there's going to be enough firepower to maybe whittle down that team there and maybe put some fire onto this unit here. Well, the HQ is potential target as well, so we'll see what happens. Soviet shooting, so basically the heavy machine gun here and these 2 rifle teams will be able to see without concealment and bulletproof cover. Are going to be going up onto that remaining team up there. We have forgotten to put a pinned marker on. And everyone else, so 1, 2, 3, 4 teams will be going at the HQ. There will be concealment and bulletproof cover, and the HMG will also be firing up there as well, and he will not have concealment and bulletproof cover. So let's do the 4 shots onto the remaining member there. So hitting on 4s, and we get 3 hits on him. So he'll resolve his saves now since he's not going to be fobbing them off anyway. And he survives. Okay. And then we have 4 shots onto the HQ. So that's going to be hitting on 5s because of the concealment. We get 2 hits. So we'll have 1 on each. And then we have the 2 shots without concealment or bulletproof cover hitting on 4s. And we've got 1 hit, so we'll put it by there. So we have 2 saves that are in bulletproof cover, so the guy at the front, okay, the guy at the back, okay, and then the non-bulletproof cover, okay. So just 3 hits on them, and that is it for shooting there. So now the T-70s will open up, so their moving rate of fire and halt is the same, so there will be 9 shots hitting on 4s. And they get 4 hits, so it'll be assigned like so. So German player will just roll all 4 saves because it doesn't really matter who is getting hit. And we have 1 that might be cocked. Nope. So we have 1 will be going down. The heavy machine guns on the hill will then also open up onto that unit there, so we'll double check it's still in short range, which they are, and then this guy will also fire as well since he might as well shoot since he can see someone, but he will be a concealed shot. So there will be 12 shots coming in from the heavy machine guns, hitting on 4s. Do that over here. So that unit is pinned now. So we'll assign these hits. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then now we're starting to double up. So we'll put it there, and then we have the guy with a concealed shot who misses. So we'll go from left to right. So the first guy has 1 save to make, survives. The next guy has a double save, and he survives. And then the other guy has a double save and dies, and then the guy behind him in the woods survives. So just the 1, but that team is also pinned now. And that is it for Soviet turn 6. So we go into German turn 7. Okay, German turn 7, we have some motivation. So we have a pin down unit with a reroll because of the HQ. So they're rallying on a 4+. They do. And then we have this unit here that needs to rally on a 4+. It does. And then, because there's only one remaining team, so if there were two teams, they'd also have to do a last stand test. So they have the Third Reich special rule, so on a 3+, they fail. So that unit is getting out of here as quick as they can. So the Germans here in a bit of a pickle. They've got this turn and next turn to basically get to the objective. And there's still a lot of Soviet stuff lying around, and it might be a bit too much to ask for them. So they will keep on fighting. They'll see what they can do. Maybe get into position to get shots with no cover here for the the Soviet infantry, and see what happens. Okay, so German movement. These guys are moved here, so two of them can get shots without bulletproof cover onto the infantry, and the HQ, one team can fire as SMG teams and hit the Commissar and this rifle team. And that is it. Maybe they can break one unit, as the Soviets will not be withdrawing any more units. There's not enough for them and not enough delay counters for that to happen. So the German player is just going to have to plug away and hope for the best. First up, the 5cm guns are going to open up on the T-70s again. It's going to be long range now, so normally hit on 3s, 4 for concealment, 5s for range. No hits again, 5cm guns really letting a team down here. So the Nebs are going to open up, so 2 T-70s are actually under this template and might be able to do anything. So they might be able to be bailed. That's the best we can hope for. So we have 3 rifle teams under the template. None are hit. The Commissar is hit, and then 2 HMGs. 1 is hit. So the Commissar is okay, and the HMG is potential. Oh, they've actually got rid of him, but probably a bit too late now for that. And then there's also 2 T-70s under the template. 1 is hit, so 1 is a potential bail here. Nope, so that's bounced off. So the HQ is now going to fire his SMGs into these teams here. So they did fire, so they're not gone to ground. So they're going to be hit on 3s. And what we're going to do, we're going to put 2 hits on the Commissar and then 1 on this guy. So too close for error. So the Commissar has 2 saves to make, and he dies, and then the other guy survives. So now we need to check. So he's got a clear shot with bulletproof cover. He will have a concealed shot, and there's a bunch of guys he can hit without bulletproof cover, and then this guy is only going to be able to shoot into the building because these guys are blocked. So we'll do him first. So it's 3s normally, 4s for concealment. So there's a hit on the HMG, and then we have 2 more shots hitting on 4s. And there's another hit, so we'll put that by there. And then the guy right at the front who's hitting on 3s, just 1 hit. So we'll just do the save. So the HMG in the building is okay. The guy closest to the HQ is dead, and then the unit leader is dead. So we're all these shots earlier, but they're still in good spirits, the Soviet infantry, because there's still 3 left there, and you got the HMG, and then there's another 1 left as well. So that is what the Germans can do in their turn 7. Soviet turn 7 will start again with pinned down infantry. So we have a pinned down unit here rallying on a 4+. They do not. And then the guys by the church are going to be rallying on a 5+ now because their Commissar is dead. No, they don't, but if he was alive, it'd have been okay. So what are they going to do? They need to hold out for 1 more turn, this unit, so they're going to pull back into the building and try and cling on, because if this unit dies, it is a game. So what this lot here are going to do first, again, they're going to try and dig in. They do this time, so they're going to get a foxhole marker. So it's only the teams that have dug in will suffer the penalty of moving rate to fire, but the HMG on the hill will be okay. So we go into Soviet movement. So here we go, the T-70s have moved up and this infantry team have moved back into the building. So we'll go into some shooting. So the HMG and this rifle team will open up into the target. So the HMG can see a bit more, so he's hitting on 4s, gets no hits, and then the rifle team gets a hit by here. So there's a save coming from the Germans, which has failed. The T-70s will open up, so it's going to be concealment, so it's going to be hit on 5s. And we only get 2 hits there, so 1 on each. So we have 1 on the unit leader, who survives, and then the other guy dies. We then will have the 3 remaining rifle teams and the 2 shots each from the HMGs going into the HQ. So they are in elevated ground, so they won't get any cover from that, or bulletproof cover, so they'll be hit on 4s. So that's 3 hits. So we have 2 saves on the HQ, and then 1 on the second in command, and he's okay. So we now move into an assault. Okay, so these are the guys who can contact, so he will move in here, and he will move in here. Now, basically they're side armor 2, so nothing's going to be able to stop that. They don't have any anti-tank weapons, so we'll go in to roll to see if they can hit anything. And they're trained, so they need 4s to kill that guy. And they get a 2 and a 1, so they miss. So the German player is just going to break off straight up because he's not going to have much of a chance there dealing with them. So we will have a look at how everyone consolidates, and these guys are going to have to push back as well because they're within 6 inches. Okay, so the German player is backed off, and these guys are backed off as well. So we're pretty much going to call it here, because next turn, even if they rally, that guy has a last stand to make. And if he goes, it's game any. Oh no, it's not game because the HQ and the 5 centimeters are still in the fight. But with these guys dug in, the Nebs are not going to be able to do enough to kill this unit. And that is it. So I hope you found that informative. I know they've done this over a couple of days, so may have lost track of a few things here and there, but overall give you a good feel for infantry combat in Flames of War. And if the Germans probably had a little bit more armour, they might have, well, if they had armour at all, they didn't have any, they might have been able to push these Soviets aside because these T-70s wouldn't have been able to do anything. So if you think about it, this is like about half the points we'd normally play with Flames of War. So think of how much more each side could have had, and these Soviet infantry blocks are just massive. So I hope you enjoyed it. Man of the match for the Soviets, should we point that out? I think everyone did a decent job. The guys on the hill stayed put, but I think these guys did enough to hold up that unit, and they didn't do anything. And then for the Germans, it's probably the Nebs are probably the only threatening thing, but they just didn't have enough numbers to get through the Soviets.